Hey everyone, good afternoon. Just going to do a video here on 12 volt car relays. This is part of a project I'm doing to add relays to my 68 Triumph Spitfire. But this applies to pretty much any 12 volt application. So what we're doing here is we're going to install a set of relays, one for high beams, one for low beams. And the purpose of the relay is essentially it's a remote control switch. In the stock configuration, all of the power that goes from the battery to the headlights goes through the switch in the dash on a Spitfire. That is upwards of 10 amps running through wiring that is 46 to 60 years old at this point. That's a lot of current going through a lot of old wire. So when we install a relay, what we're doing is we're taking all of that current and we're essentially powering the lights directly from a new line that runs right from the battery through this relay and to the headlights. If you're installing LEDs, it's not strictly necessary. LEDs only draw maximum about 8 amps, 7 to 8 amps, and that's high beams. That's combined the two bulbs. However, halogen bulbs will pull 10 amps plus through that wiring. So not a bad idea in either case. Even if you're not doing an LED conversion, highly recommend doing this, even if you're going to continue to run your incandescent bulbs, because it makes a huge difference getting the bulbs clean power and also preventing your wiring behind your dash from burning up because it gets overheated with resistance from dirty contacts and old wire that's corroded and things like that. So anyway, this is a simple 12 volt relay available on pretty much any electronics site. This one came from Amazon. It is a I like these because they have a little fuse holder built into them, so you can pop a little mini fuse in there and protect your new line with fuse built in here. You don't have to run an inline fuse. If you don't have this style, an inline fuse going from the relay to the bulbs is highly recommended, just for protection. So if you look at the top here, you'll see there is a schematic with the 4 terminal numbers, 30, 85, 86, and 87 located there. If you're familiar with electronic schematics, it's not too hard to figure out. 30 is your direct battery connection, 85 is your ground, 86 is your light switch, and 87 is your light bulbs. But you don't have to be really familiar with that to make this work for you. It's really not that bad if you take it one wire at a time. So let's flip this guy over, and if you turn it over, you'll see that flip it the right side up. You'll see the numbers on the top correspond with numbers here at the bottom. So you've got 87 at the top. Get my pointer tool here. You've got 87 up here. If you can make that out, it's white on white, so it might have come through on the camera real well. You've got 86 here. You've got 85 over here. And then you've got 30 down here. So what I do when I'm putting one of these in is I'll cheat. I'll write all these down so that I can refer back to them, so I don't have to rely on my memory and depend on that for reminding me of exactly which number is which. Although it's only 4 numbers, so it's not that bad. It's not that hard. Bear with me here. I'm going to put the camera on a stand. If you don't drop it, the relay actually comes with a little pigtail wire harness here. It only plugs in one way, which is kind of cool. So in this case, it would be like this. And so once I have that plugged in, now I've got 4 wires that come out of it. The 4 wires are black for ground, blue for the battery, that runs to your battery, white for your light switch, and red goes from the relay to the bulbs. You can, if you look closely, and you might not be able to tell on the camera, there are two different wire sizes here. Blue and red are 14 gauge wire. They're a little bit thicker than the white and the black. And that's because they will carry all the current that used to go through your dashboard. Now it comes from the battery through the blue, and when it's energized, it goes back out the red. Black is ground. All white is now is a signal wire. It's a remote signal wire. When you pull your headlight switch, a little bit of current goes through the white. That activates the relay that closes the circuit that provides power from the blue that's connected to your battery out through the red that goes to your headlights. So I think I can draw this out, a simple box diagram that might make this a little easier to understand. I will put a link in the video to a Moss Motors website. Has a really nice diagram that explains this as well. I figured this would just be a different interpretation of it, but it should be pretty much the same. And his voice is way nicer than mine, and his presentation style is probably a lot better too. So we're going to start with the simple box here. This is our relay, and it's got 4 terminals on it. I'm going to move my camera here. Sorry, guys. This is our car battery. It's got positive and negative terminals on it. This is number 30. Excuse my handwriting. I'm a lefty and I have terrible handwriting anyway. This connector is going to go to your battery, positive. This guy is 85. And this is your ground. This is going to be your ground wire. This guy up here is typically going to be 86, and that is going to go to your switch in your dash. And then this other guy here is 87, and I'm running out of room. It's a 7. And that is going to go down to your, let's see if I can draw headlights. Reasonable. Actually, 2 of them. That's going to go to your headlights. So what happens here is when you've got battery power coming into the relay at all times, it's just sitting there with nothing better to do. When you turn on your headlight switch, it sends a little bit of current here that activates an electromagnet in here that makes the connection here. And what that does is then it sends battery power from here through the little box and directly out to your very artistically styled headlights. So all the current, all the power is going this way, up here through the relay and over directly to your battery. None of that current that is needed to power the headlights goes through your switch. Your switch is just a remote control. When you turn your switch off, that turns off the electromagnet, and that breaks the current, or breaks the switch, and your headlights go out. So it's fairly simple, and again, it's a little confusing if you're not real comfortable with electronics, but electronics. But if you take it one wire at a time, take your time, plan it out, you'll be just fine. I've already installed one of my relays. Let's go ahead and I'll take you over to the car if I don't trip and fall. Now this is done. It is hooked up, but it's not dressed yet, so you'll see that the wires go all over the place. Don't worry about that. I will clean these up. But you can see the relay right here. In my case, I have it mounted to the sideboard for the radiator ductwork. Just trying to keep it as far out of the water and rain as I can. And you can see I even labeled these as I was working on them, so I knew what I was doing. This red guy goes to the bulbs. This blue guy here goes to the battery. This goes to the ground, and the white one goes to the switch. So at this point, these two wires go up into and join up in my stock wiring harness. One is for the switch, that's this guy right here because it's a little thinner, and one is for the batteries, and that's this guy here because it's thicker. So what happens is when I turn my, in this case, high beams, this is the high beam one, I'll be putting the low beam one, I'll probably stick it on this guy right up here and just hang it on that post. I'll run the wire down, across, and you can see where the original stock wire harness goes. I'll actually end up putting some split loom on all this mess, and we'll run it up through and up into the bonnet, clean this all up so it all looks nice and neat. But this is a work in progress, and what that will do then is it'll get the power off of your switch, out of your dash. So in the case of my Mark III Spitfire, this is the light switch right here. Sorry, right here. I'm trying to look at the camera and do this at the same time. So in the stock configuration, all the power needed to power the light bulbs goes through this piece of little piece of metal and plastic switch, which is inside the car behind the dash, hooked up to, in this case, 50. So this is a 68, so 58-year-old wiring, or maybe even older because it could be older wiring. Now that I have the relay in place, it actually only takes a few fractions of an amp to trigger the relay and to kick the high beams on, and then they get their power directly from the battery. Bear with me here. I'm going to kick the battery on, and I'm going to turn the headlights on. When I turn the high beams on, you'll hear a click. I have the camera pretty close to the relay, so you can actually hear the relay clicking. So, make sure. Okay, so that's my low beams. Now listen for the click. Should have heard a little click there as the high beams came on. Now when I turn the high beams off, you'll hear another click as the relay turns off. So that's it, guys. That's a very, very high level introduction of how a headlight relay works. I'll shoot another piece of this video when I've got everything installed and nice and tidied up, so you can actually see how nice it looks when they're done. Huge safety improvement for your car, both from better light at night, better, cleaner power to your lights, as well as reducing fire risk by overcooking your 60-year-old wiring behind the dash. So highly recommended. You can buy a relay kit from several of the vendors. Comes with a pair of relays and a good bit of the wiring. If you've got wiring and you're okay with making your own connections up, crimping your own connections or soldering them, highly recommend just pick up a set of 12-volt relays. They usually come, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in a pack on Amazon for, I don't know, like $10. They're not expensive, and once you understand how they work, you'd be surprised at how many other things you can find uses for them in old cars. So that's it for now. I'll probably shoot a video, or I said I'll shoot a video when I'm done with all the wiring and installing the other relay and get everything cleaned up so you can see what the end result looks like, and you can hear the relays click on and off for the low end, the high beams. So we'll be back shortly with that. Afternoon, everyone. I was thinking about a little bit more, and I decided I wanted to shoot a quick video that demonstrates how I wire the relays into the headlight circuit on my Spitfire without the need to cut or change any of the existing wiring. So what you see before you here is a splitter. You've got this power in, and then it goes out to your left and right headlights. Now this wire will be either blue and white for your high beams or blue and red for your low beams on your car. So you'll have a pair of these up in the corner of the bonnet of your car, up in the front center of your car. Now they might be filthy. If you haven't cleaned them, they probably are. Top tip, spray a little brake cleaner on a paper towel or a rag and wipe the wires off so you can actually read the colors in case they're caked in road grime. But this is how it exists. It exists without the relays. So you've got a wire that runs through your dash, from the battery through your dash and up through here and splits to left and right headlights. So what I do is I take my wires from my relay and I unplug this wire, which came from the switch, and I connect the red wire, which is the load wire that goes directly to the battery through the relay, into the splitter. So that gives me power to the splitter. But then what I also need to do is take this wire down here, this white wire. Where'd you go? There you are. This white wire, and I need to connect that to the switch in the relay, which is going to be the white wire. So I will take the white wire and I'll connect it here. And when I connect all those through the relay, it's wired up appropriately, and I can redo everything on the wiring. None of the original wiring connectors change. So it all stays completely removable. If you ever wanted to do some kind of concourse level restoration on your car and didn't want the relays in place, you can easily unplug them, plug everything back together with the original wiring, and you're good to go. Couple of notes there. The original wires used, I'm going to pull this apart, but they used these connectors, either an inline, just a coupler, or a splitter that takes 2 in, 2 out, or 1 in, 2 out in the case of our headlights. These are joined together, or they use these little guys, these bullet connectors, which are just crimp-on. They can be, you can get those at a company called British Wiring here in the U.S. They're located outside of Philadelphia. Fantastic guys to work with. They have pretty much everything you could need for your British car in terms of wiring, including full wiring harnesses and all the tools and everything. So I have here a little container full of these bullet connectors that I keep on hand. I also invested in this guy, which is a crimping tool, specifically for, it's a ratcheting crimping tool specifically for those style connectors. As you can see, let's see if I can do this with kind of blind, but they fit right in there, and then you just ratchet it closed and it makes the crimp around the little collar there, and comes out pretty good when it's done. When that's done, you just plug it. Like I said, I'm working blind here. You just plug it in there, snap it in place, and put the other end, and you're good to go. Or if you want to do 1 in, 2 out, you do 1 in there. Sorry, it's not fitting in there. There it goes. And then you can do your 2 wires out. So easy to come by. British Wiring. They don't pay me for this, but they're really good to work with. And they have all the tools you need, all the wires you need. If I wanted to be super authentic, I could even buy the correct blue and white striped wire and blue and red striped wire from them and make up my own from here. But I already have these boxes of nice pliable wire that I picked up on Amazon that I use for automotive use. So they work really well. I think I probably mentioned it before, but it just popped into my head. I will mention the different gauges of wire. For the signals, for the signal wires, I use 16 gauge wire, which is capable of handling up to, I believe, about 15 amps, at least 10 amps. And then for the actual load, I use 14 gauge wire, which will handle greater than 15 amps. You could probably do the whole thing with 16 gauge wire, and it wouldn't make much of a difference at all. It's not that we're not getting that close to the limit with it, especially if you're doing LEDs. But just wanted to put that out there. It's a little easier to see sitting here at my table than it would be on the workbench, or on the car. It's a little difficult to see in the car, but okay, that was that interruption. I am going to get to work making up the cables, and I will get them put in place and get the wires all dressed, and I'll do a final kind of walkthrough of everything again once it's on the car and cleaned up. So stay tuned. Okay, we're back. That was fun. It's actually been about a week because I got distracted with some other things. But the relays are now installed, and I have the wire dressed about as neat as I can get it. You'll see there's some wire loom on here, zip tied there. So pretty nice, pretty decent, neat for me. I'm not the best at dressing wires, but everything is tested and works. So if I put the camera down, excuse my thumb there, I'm going to put it down right here on the rocker cover, so you can hear the relays kick in when I turn them on. So if you listen, you'll hear it clicking when the headlights come on, and when I switch from low beam to high beam, you'll hear another click as I switch back and forth. That's the relays kicking on and off. And remember, we're taking power for the headlights now directly from the battery, as opposed to coming up in through the switch in here and then going all the way out to the headlights. We're kind of bypassing the switch inside the dash. We're reusing it for a trigger, really, and that'll take a ton of load off the wiring under the dash. With LEDs, again, not a huge deal, but still a nice improvement. If you have incandescent, old school or halogen bulbs, absolutely get these relays and install them. You'll notice brighter lights, and your dashboard will be a lot less prone to having the switch melt. So I hope this was helpful. I'll stitch all these together. It'll probably be a conjoined or disjointed mess, but thank you for watching. And if you have any questions or anything, just leave in the comments below. Thanks.